This is not going to be very lengthy, is it?
No, this is not going to be easy or lengthy.
You know what I mean? Yeah, that first, I got you. Well, I'm with you.
So, Lima and Larry.
Yes.
We have some, I don't even know what kind of news this is. What happened last Mother's Day, right?
Yeah, on Mother's Day. So on Sunday, May 9th, the treatment center staff walked into Amanda's room thinking that she was just peacefully sleeping and realized that she had passed away. It's been a really, really big shock for us. And my brain hasn't really been able to comprehend it. And announcing it makes it real, so...
It's hard to believe.
It's very hard to believe. And so I think I know that they did a toxicology report. All she had in her system was Tylenol. I was actually supposed to fly in for her transfer to outpatient care, and she never got transferred, so she remained at residential care, so she had 24/7 supervision. Any foul play, any self-harm, anything in that nature was already ruled out. So she died of physical, natural causes. And so I think it's really important to note for everybody watching that mental health can cause physical illness. And the time that Amanda spent on the street is the reason that she passed away. So the amount of time, the amount of traumatic brain injury that she endured, we were working on repairing her jaw because she was brutally beaten and raped so severely on multiple occasions, and 3 that Larry shared with me, but there was many more that we don't even know about. So all of that damage to her brain, the physical damage, aside from the mental illness, the abuse that she did with crack cocaine, which was very severe, the fact that she was a little heavier before she had ever used drugs, and I actually have a photo of Amanda on my Instagram page with Larry, who, where this was before she had ever touched any substance, and she was a little heavier, and so when she started using crack, we watched on your channel that she just withered away, and when I got her into my care, I could literally wrap my fingers completely around her wrist. So she went from being heavier to anorexic. When we got her into the treatment center, her physical condition was so deteriorated. She had so much malnutrition, and a lot of times when someone's been clean for a while, they end up overeating because to make up for that calorie deficit. So the people who are underweight require about 3,000 to 5,000 calories just to get back to zero. But that also, that doesn't include the damage that's been done to the metabolism and to the body and the digestion. So in my opinion, and we're still waiting for the autopsy report, that's going to take about 2 to 3 months, they told us. But Amanda was just homeless too long. Sorry. But so I think that she proved that there's no such thing as impossible when it comes to her mental health care. All of the people that said she couldn't be helped, everybody that said that there was nothing that could be done to save her, she proved everybody wrong. And we had so many plans. We made that video of like what it's like to go to treatment. There was a bunch of other videos that Amanda wanted to make with me. And she had so many things that she was so motivated by. And that's another thing that people don't understand is when you have someone that's homeless, and when you have someone, even if they're not homeless and they're abusing drugs, it destroys your prefrontal cortex, which is in the front of your brain. And what that part is responsible for is planning. It's responsible for impulse control. It's responsible for any type of empathy. And so when you're telling someone you need to go to rehab, you need to go to treatment, if you look at, and I encourage everybody that watches these videos to just Google SPECT imaging, brain SPECT imaging, and look at what a healthy brain looks like and what a brain looks like when you have a drug addiction or alcohol addiction. And what those scans show is brain activity and blood flow. And so you're going to see that the brain of someone who's using a substance looks like Swiss cheese. So it has a bunch of holes in it. Those holes are not real holes in your brain. They're just where blood does not flow. So it's really important to not just expect those people to make their own decisions. So by allowing people to be homeless and abuse themselves and hurt themselves and end up in such physical pain, and when the blood flow in Amanda's brain returned, and when she had been sober for almost over 200 days, and she was watching her videos from back then, and she called me and told me, I never want to go back to that life. I can't believe that was me. She called me in tears crying, watching those videos back. And she was she wasn't even embarrassed about it. She was proud of how far she'd come, that she was showing the other patients at the treatment center that wanted to leave against medical advice. They just wanted to leave early and relapse. She was showing them her videos and saying, you don't want to end up like this. And she was actually convincing patients to stay in treatment. So
yeah, her story is very encouraging for anybody who
yeah,
is fighting addiction or has a family member fighting addiction.
definitely.
Larry, you called me Sunday morning to tell me the news. It was unbelievable.
Yes, because see, I had been speaking with Amanda more frequently the last week or so. We exchanged photos each day just as a way of staying connected. So she had talked to me quite late, actually, on Saturday evening. They had karaoke, they had pizza. I think they were outside eating, so outside was her favorite spot where she'd go and smoke her cigarettes and watch the volleyball. So she always described this space was her little heel. And when I got there to see it, it was so vivid from her description until I could just feel her presence.
Yeah, the staff, Amanda touched so many lives there because, number one, she was there for a while, so the staff really got to know her, and they were so devastated that they had to not only bring grief counselors for the patients, but also grief counselors for the staff. And the patients came up with an idea where they wanted to host their own little memorial for her. So they made this big butterfly and they hung it on a tree, and they made all of these flowers and put them on this tree for Amanda. And they painted a bunch of rocks and made a little memorial for her. At group therapy, there was a chair that Amanda always sat in. And all of the patients picked a flower and they put a flower on her chair. And a patient that was new there that didn't know Amanda went to sit in the chair and a fight broke out.
So I mean, the autopsy is still in progress.
Yes,
and
yes.
You're
Yeah. But it was a physical issue that was caused by either the brain, something in what they're saying, which I don't have all of the details because they're still investigating, is that it was caused by either the abuse that she took from the rapes, so the violence, and it could have also played a role with the extent of the drug abuse that she had done prior. Yeah. So it was a physical problem that was caused by mental illness.
a blood clot, aneurysm, something like that.
Yeah, and so we're gonna, we'll definitely follow up and share once we have that information. But Larry, did you have anything that you wanted to specifically address?
I want you to know that your help was immeasurable.
Thank you.
Because Mark and I was out here just trying our best on a day-to-day basis. And we were just spinning our wheels, actually. And we were always hoping for a miracle. Mark would say it just plain as day. And then I would say, maybe today. But I'd go out there, we'd get busy trying to do something. So when I met Lima, it was just a change in my life. And then since Amanda been off the streets in the best of care, she would tell me, Amanda would call me and tell me I didn't have to go over there. She described all of the process and the services and the people. So she was very happy.
I remember when I noticed a big change in Amanda because she called me and I was worried because, you know, I'm like, oh my God, she wants to leave, or she doesn't like something, or she needs something. So I saw her number on my phone, and my heart sank into my stomach, and I'm like, uh-oh, did something happen? And she called me, and she was like, hey, Lima, and I'm like, hey, what's up? And she's like, nothing, I just wanted to call and say I love you. And I was just started crying on the phone, because I was not expecting that. And she's like, I just wanted to check on you, and I hope that you don't mind, but I didn't have my mom growing up, and you're kind of like a mom to me.
So what has happened is
And
Amanda
then she died
wrote,
on Mother's Day.
may I say, Amanda wrote a letter to her mother last week.
Oh, she did.
Now, her therapist told me this when I was there. So it's somewhere in her belongings that I need to find, and she wants me to read it first.
Yeah, so Amanda had a lot of conflict with her mom, and she shared with me that her mom was never really there for her, and when she was staying with her mom, she was always taking care of her brother, and I guess her mom abused drugs and really neglecting her and her brother, and she blamed her mom for her brother being autistic and using drugs while she was pregnant with her brother. And so she had a lot of anger towards her. So her therapist had encouraged her to, she encouraged her to write a letter to her mom. And it was really incredible because Amanda, I spoke to her right before she went to sleep, before she passed, and she had so much closure, and she when I first met her, she had no self-worth at all. And by the end, she was so proud of herself, and she had so much closure with her mom, and she was actually making plans to reach out to her birth mother and read the letter to her. And I just think that was pretty incredible, because when she died beautiful. She died totally clean. She had inspired so many people, and she died in peace. Like, she didn't have anything hanging over her where she...
I think the most incredible part of Amanda's story is how, like, in the last 3-4 months, she just, you saw her progressively
blossom. She
she blossomed. Yeah.
During the prayer, during the individual counseling for new students.
Yeah.
She was so enthusiastic.
She was doing so many things I could never imagine this
she
girl
wanted
could
to
do.
be helpful.
Yeah, she was so inspired by the staff that helped her that she wanted to be a certified medical assistant, and so she just started her. We got her the study guide, and she just she was supposed to start her online schooling, and she was looking for. I asked her, once she steps down to outpatient, she's going to be staying at a sober living. But once she's staying at a sober living, we're going to be job training her, helping her go back to school. That was part of the scholarship we were offering with our donors. And so I asked her if she'd like to be in a sober living or how she'd like to do that longer term. And she said that her goal was to get her dad off of Skid Row because he lives in VA housing on Skid Row. And she wanted to go to school in Orange County and just find a college that had the program. So I promised her that we would get Larry off Skid Row, and I'm going to continue to keep my promise.
I mean, I think the most important thing to take away from this whole story, from start to finish,
Yeah.
is how much is possible.
how much is possible, but how much damage is being done every single day when you allow people to put a tent up and kill themselves. And what we don't talk about is how many dead people there are in all of these tents that you see everywhere, because people overdose and they die and no one goes in the tents. And that's so inhumane. So I had a lot of pushback when I was, quote unquote, forcing Amanda to go to treatment. But again, Amanda could not make her own decision.
No, that was the only way Amanda was ever going to get better, was forcing her.
Yeah, but people who have that much damage to their brain from drug use and also the trauma that she suffered, like, dying in dignity does not mean let her go be free. She's an adult. The amount of damage she took to just her skull and her jaw and all the lost teeth that she lost, it's just unbelievable that our system would consider letting you put a tent up as humane and that it's okay. I feel like there should be a lot done to change the homelessness situation and offer more help to people. And I actually spoke with Meet Kevin, who's running for governor, and I have an interview with him live stream on his channel on Tuesday at 2 p.m. PST. He's talking to me about how we could restructure the homelessness epidemic and mental health epidemic in the United States, in California specifically, and then hopefully people can mimic that plan for other states.
Yeah. The key to Amanda's recovery, I think, was the forced rehab.
Yeah,
it was
like
forced. She didn't have a choice of whether she wanted to stay or not.
Exactly, because we literally pulled her rock bottom.
Because if an addict is given a choice, eventually they'll have a bad day and leave.
Yeah, and I believe in what you say, possibilities. All things are possible as a result of what has happened to Amanda. Because I pray every day and believe in my prayers. And I believe that God has helped us in this, brought us together, and he just showed us that what we did was all good for her.
No, it was an amazing story that Amanda recovered fully. Unbelievably.
Yeah.
She claimed it repeatedly.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
Yeah. She made sure.
And Larry, your strength throughout this whole week has been incredible.
Well,
thank God for it.
On your drive to Las Vegas to go see Amanda, you said that there was an endless rainbow.
Oh, wow. I have never seen this. And I used to take pictures around the world of places, sunset, sunrise. We were traveling on the back road to Las Vegas, and we had a wraparound rainbow. And when I saw it, I'm going, well, okay, first we see everything in California, beautiful weather all the time. But once I kept looking, and I never saw the end of it. And I began to pray because I'm going to prepare to see Amanda. I've never seen a wraparound rainbow before. Albert kept saying, you're right. You know Albert, he's Mr. Curiosity. We had nothing to say, it was just incredible. And it didn't go away, it didn't fade away quickly. Man.
No, it was, I wrote something down because it really stuck with me.
Yeah.
So I was telling one of our friends about what happened, and he kind of made like a nerdy affiliation. It was a Star Wars quote, but it really resonated with Amanda. So he said that there was a scene in Star Wars where the bad guys were fighting, and where the good guy was fighting the bad guy, and the good guy said, you can't win. Even if you strike me down, I will become... Sorry. I will become more powerful than you could ever imagine. And I feel like Amanda's death is going to change the entire way that we do things, but more importantly, Amanda's life and what she proved while she was alive. I went from planning her future to her funeral.
But Amanda's favorite song was It's a Wonderful World. I used to play that song when she was in the car seat just to make her keep quiet. And I would look back and she would be just into the song, man. So I would just play it again. So it turned out that she would always want me to play.
When we returned back from Las Vegas, there was a man standing, we were dropping Larry home, and there was a man standing outside of Larry's building with his dog. And he heard what we were talking about Amanda, and I guess he had known Amanda as well. And he just said, they say that God takes you when you've served your purpose. But I just thought that that was so powerful, and I think that, you know, we all have so much to learn from her short life. But I'm really grateful that I met Amanda. I'm really grateful that we got to work together. And I'm really grateful that Larry's going to continue to work with me and build up Amanda's legacy and prove that, you know, not let her die in vain, but really use what she proved while she was alive, that anything is possible, to transform so many lives. So we're taking down the GoFundMe page because she's no longer here. But if anyone wants to continue to support what we're doing with offering scholarships and trying to make it open and accessible to everyone, you can sign the petition. And you can also donate directly on the website. It goes to giving. And we want to open up the scholarship program to everyone, applicants, once we raise enough funding to be able to help everybody.
Well, I really see so clearly, because I've tried to help so many people on my own, and the money ends up being wasted. Because as I see it, the only way that getting someone clean off drugs is a program similar to what Amanda had.
Yeah.
Which was two months of forced jail time.
It's a very simple formula. It's either jail or psych ward, or you can willingly go to a homeless shelter. I used to volunteer here on Skid Row. I had my birthday party here on Skid Row at the LA Mission. When I first got here and I witnessed what was going on, I thought, oh my God, these people probably don't know where to find help. And when I arrived, I realized that it's actually, Skid Row is just the entire block. You've got 4 different homeless shelters. But the problem is when we'd be cooking in the kitchen, we would have so much food and so little people come in that we'd be serving seconds and thirds. And all of the people are just sitting outside. They refuse to come in. And the programs aren't forcing you to do a program. They're not forcing you to be clean. So you can actually come in, eat, and then leave. You have the second choice of coming in, eating, and staying for one night, but not committing to a program. And then you can also come in, eat, stay for an entire program, and then they help do job placement and all of that other stuff. And they also offer mental health resources, getting you clean off of drugs. But the problem is people will not come in, not even to eat a meal. And it's because, again, their brain is so damaged. You took away the prefrontal cortex, you took away their logic. And when you look at brain activity, everything shuts down when someone's so malnutritioned. All the lights and all the other parts of the brain, the blood flow, stops flowing. It just goes to the center, and that's survival mode. So the only thing they're thinking of is drug seeking. What's going to make me feel better right now? And they cannot plan for the future because that's prefrontal cortex. And any sort of motivation is located in the pleasure center, so like the right and left hemispheres of the brain, which is where all the dopamine goes. So it's like the motivation is only there when they're high and it leaves when they're not. So you can't expect those people to make decisions for themselves. So something needs to change.
Yeah, absolutely. And let's hope Amanda's beautiful story isn't in vain and leads.
And this is not the end. This is only the beginning. Yeah.
Larry and Lima, thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you, Mark.
You've been a treasure, man.
We'll carry on.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you.